Hey guys, how you going? My name's Jake and welcome to another video. It's January, it's 2019, it's the start of another year, and I wanted to take a look back at my photos that I've taken over the last 5 years of being a photographer and look at my 10 best photos. This year's going to be a big year for me, and I wanted to have a look back and see what has got me to this point so far and what's inspired me to get to this point so far. So we're going to have a quick look through my photos and discuss what's good about them, why I think they're good, and maybe some plans for the future and what I intend to do there. So this first one up here is a picture from Nevada. We went out to the Valley of Fire National Park, myself and my dad, on one of the hottest days I can ever remember being in. We walked through the canyons for about 3 hours before 10 o'clock in the morning, and it was about 52 degrees Celsius, so that is hot. This picture was when we were walking through one of the smaller canyons. It was probably only about 1.5 meters wide at most. It was very claustrophobic to begin with, but it was very cool as well. Cool as in awesome, but cool as in shade as well, because it was very cold in that canyon. Wherever the sun didn't touch, it was literally like 10 degrees, 20 degrees cooler. I just saw the blue sky sticking out of the top of these bright red rocks, and I thought that would make a cool picture if I took a photo of that. So I've got a couple of photos from this America trip, and it was really this trip that started my passion for photography, and I felt like I was on a real roll with how creative I was being in my photos and the lengths I was going to get the photos themselves. Now, this second picture was taken in Dumbo in New York, and it's a famous picture. A lot of people would have seen this one already, of the bridge looking at the end of the street. You stand at the top of the street, you look down, and the bridge is pretty much perfectly framed in the center of the street. I looked at this picture recently as I was compiling these pictures for this video, and I actually didn't realize that I'd got the Empire State Building framed inside the bridge as well. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people knew this already and used the framing for the Empire State Building and the bridge, but I honestly didn't even realize that I'd done this as well, and I thought this was it was something really cool, and I think it's a good reason why you should look back over your photos, because sometimes you miss things that you didn't even think to look at when you first took the photo. So as I said, this America trip was really inspiring for me, and obviously New York is a great place to go for photos and for anything really, so I was very privileged to go here so early in my career, and especially my photography career. Alright, back to the Nevada desert, and this lizard and this photo probably makes up one of the better stories I've had while taking photos. Again, Dad and I were out in the Valley of Fire National Park in Nevada, and we're just walking around looking at all the installments and placards and information boards and things like that, and we went up to, there was some Native American markings on the rocks at one point, and we got out of the car and went and had a look, and I thought, oh, I won't bring my camera because it was like 20 meters away, so we'll just go there and I won't take any photos. But when we got up to the top of like these little stairs, there were lizards literally everywhere. There was about 20 lizards, and as soon as we got up there, most of them scattered except for this one, and Dad was like, oh, Jake, take a photo, and I was like, oh, I don't have my camera. He's like, well, I'll look at it, you go run back to your car and I'll keep an eye on it. And I was like, oh God. So I sprinted back to the car, grabbed my camera, and this lizard was sitting in the exact same spot and was pretty much posing for us on the rock. It was pretty much posing for us, waiting at the top of the rock for me to come take a photo of it. And this photo, I think, is what really sparked my interest in animal photography, because it's such a thrill taking photos of animals with that unpredictable nature of how they act, and you're not sure if you're going to get the photo if you do run back to the car to get your camera. Fortunately for me, it worked out this time, and I'm really happy that I took this picture. Alright, so this picture here is a photo of a street musician in Hong Kong, and this was probably one of my earliest candid portraits I took doing street photography. The musician's playing a space drum, which is a really trippy sounding instrument, and it was really cool to see this guy playing on the street. He was barely taking any notice of the people watching him, and quite a large crowd watching him at the time. He was just playing his music and people were watching, and it was really, really nice to see street musicians do their work. It's really, really powerful sometimes when one person can get a whole crowd around them watching them. I thought this was this is probably one of my favorite photos that I've taken of a person in the street. So yeah, this is a favorite of mine. All right, another travel picture here. This is probably one of the best days I've experienced in my life. Walking up to the Trift Bridge with my family, with my dad. It was about a 2-hour hike up to this bridge in Switzerland, And once we got to the top, it was an incredible view of the glacier below the bridge itself. And it was quite a long bridge, a suspension bridge. It wobbled a little bit when we stepped on it, and when we stepped on it, it was very icy as well, and we almost all went for a ride down because it was quite steep. This moment for me was pretty special because I felt that I'd achieved a lot so far in my photography career, and obviously I look back on it now and it's pretty infinitesimal what I did back then to what I've done now, but at this point in time I felt like I was really on the right track with my photography. I took a selfie here, as you do when you're in an awesome place, and I had all my kit on, I had my backpack, my beanie. I felt good, I felt like I was an adventurer, I was out exploring the world, and yeah, I really enjoyed this time spent with my dad and my family, and it's a really good memory for me, and I think it's a really good photo. Just the way things are framed up, and yeah, it's mainly just a fond memory, so that's why I really enjoyed this picture the most. Right, now this picture was taken near Chiang Mai in Thailand, and this was the first picture that I got printed. This is the picture that started my love for printing and framing my work. This is a mother elephant at one of the elephant sanctuaries that I visited with Emily when we went to Thailand, and we got to feed the elephants, we got to bathe the elephants, and pretty much just got to play with them for about 2 hours. And this was a very animal-friendly sanctuary. It was where elephants go after or when they get taken out of the places where you ride elephants. You're not meant to ride elephants, it hurts their back. So if you ever go to Thailand, try not to ride the elephants or go to places that support that because it's not healthy for them. This place is an actual sanctuary that protects and rescues elephants from places like that. So it was very fun to go to. The elephants were so friendly and massive and strong, and it was such a humbling experience being in the presence of them because they could literally pick you up and throw you away in a second and think nothing of it, and we think we're the strongest and most powerful things in our world, but then we meet animals like this and it changes your whole perspective. So I think I got a really nice photo of this mother elephant. You can see her beautiful eyelashes sticking out to the left of the image and the beautiful texture on her trunk as well, and I thought it would be a really nice image to do in black and white to really highlight that texture that's on her trunk of the actual skin and the hair and all the mud that's on her trunk as well. So one of my favorite pictures of all time. Alright, so this next picture coming up sort of represents me delving into the architecture side of photography. This was inside at the time, Simmons Stadium renovations down in Geelong in my city, and I had the opportunity to take photos of some of the new lighting installments and architecture sort of designs in the new renovations, which was very humbling for me because obviously I'm a big fan of the Cats, and every chance that I get to go to that stadium and have a look around is a great opportunity. But this one especially, I was taken into all the private rooms and things like that, and got to take these pictures of all the lighting installments, and I think I did a pretty good job with this picture especially, and the ones I did on the day. Again, it was just an example of how I've transitioned from portrait to animal to now architecture photography, and it's a good motivation for me to look back on this picture and realize that I keep broadening what I do, and I'm not just a one-trick pony. I can do multiple things, and I'm trying multiple things, and it's always good to try different things, especially if you're trying to get out there in the world of photography. So I was pretty happy with this one too. This next picture was another print that I did, and I've got it just sitting over here now. Alright, so this is that print in that picture. Emily actually got me this for my birthday one year, and this really is what started my love for printing. This was the actual first picture that I printed ever, and shortly after this is when I did the elephant. But Emily got me this for my birthday, and this is the first time that I saw any of my prints in a physical, tangible form, and that's what really started my, well, passion now I guess for printing and framing my work and doing my best to sell them to who I can sell them to. So that was a great gift from Emily, and it, yeah, like I said, really started my passion for printing and framing my work, which is something that I recommend any artist to do, especially photographers, is to try and print and frame when you can. It's such a different experience seeing your art actually in your hands instead of just on your phone on Instagram or something. It's a really good experience. So this is another favorite print of mine. Obviously I live near the coast and I get to go to a lot of beaches when I do take photos, and recently I found this porthole is what I call them, but I probably will pick another name for that. Basically they're a natural forming hole in the rocks, and you can look out to the water or down the beach or whatever's behind that. I actually intend to do a series on these, maybe of 9, if I can find 9, and maybe have them printed, maybe put them in a sort of typology. But I just think this is a really cool naturally forming thing. It's like having a natural frame in the rock, and you can actually see pretty much the landscape photo that you're going to take anyway, but it's just framed by this awesome sort of structure. And the outline of the actual rock to me looks like the outline of like a country sort of border, so I don't know if I can work that into the typology that I'm planning to do, but it's something interesting that really sparked my love for this photo and all the other porthole photos that I've taken, so I'll be interested to see where I can take that further. Right, so it wouldn't be a top 10 list if I didn't include any football photos in this. Obviously I'm mad football and mad Geelong, and that's where I really started my passion for photography, taking photos at the football. This is a photo of Tim Kelly, one of the Geelong Cats players, getting tackled by an opponent. I think this was a really creative edit at the time. I dropped all the skin tones basically and colours of the grass and pretty much kept the colours from the jumpers and of the ball, which really makes the colours pop. Obviously the reds and the blues there really pop and make the players look like superheroes, which is what a lot of people view them as when they see them in public or on the field, and I think that's a really strong way to view basically our heroes on the field and off the field. And this is probably just one of my favourite photos overall, just because of how dynamic it actually is. It's not just like a person standing or kicking as normal. He's getting tackled and you can see the muscles tensing, and you can see the different body actions that they're taking to get to that position. So yeah, one of my favourites as well. Alright, last up is this awesome picture of the Ferris wheel in Geelong that I took. This was for a uni assignment at the time, but I since then printed it again and made a little bit of a different edit of it. This was at sunset, and I got a perfect contrast of the silhouetted Ferris wheel and boat masts, I guess, and the awesome sunset that was happening in the background, where the sky was just turning into nighttime, but there was still enough red and yellow in the sky to make it appear like it was like a really strong sunset. I think this is just like one of the best pictures I've taken, just because of the framing of it. The Ferris wheel is like perfectly in the middle and is complemented by some of the trees and the boat masts there, and the black silhouettes of those things really contrast with the purple and yellow and red colors in the background there. So one of my favorite prints, and I really look forward to doing more things like this that are really dynamic in the way that their colors really jump out at you and contrast with the black. So anyway guys, that was the top 10 photos that I've taken over the last 5 years of being a photographer. I hope you enjoyed them. If you guys go and look at my Instagram page, which I'll put up here, you can maybe let me know if you like a different top 10 or if you have any other favorites of mine. This was just my personal top 10 that I really like, and I'm sure I've got another 100 that I would really appreciate as well. But hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.